Hi everyone, Paul Akers with the American Innovator. This week we're down at Macworld in San Francisco. I'm here with Paul Singh, one of our team members. And as we were driving out of the Oakland airport on our way over to the conference center, I got an email from one of our listeners, and the email was, frankly, it was fascinating. I've never heard an email quite like this before. And basically it was from a guy named Glenn, and he said, Paul, I've watched your videos and I see your lean culture, and I've really never seen anything like it before, and I know this may sound a little crazy, but frankly, it looks like your people are paid actors. And I thought, wow, that's an interesting thought. His perception is what we're doing doesn't even seem real. It doesn't seem like anybody could buy in at that level. I think his exact words were, how do you get your people to buy in? They seem like paid actors. They're so into the lean culture. So I picked up my phone and I queued up an audio email to reply back to Glenn to tell him my opinion on how and why our people buy in. But of course, Paul was right next to me, and he's one of our team members for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years? How long have you been?
Almost 7.
Yeah, 7 years now. And so I thought, what better thing than to let Glenn hear Paul's response? And I thought, well, we could record a quick show and let people hear firsthand from someone who works at FastCap for the last 7 years on how we get people to buy in. So what do you think, Paul? How do we get people to buy in?
I don't. You believe in something, and if you see it happening over and over again, if you're running faster than the other person, you're running faster. The lean is the same way. If you see it changing someone else, like Paul used to do it, Paul did lean and he explained how it worked. And when you see it over and over again, when you see it yourself, when you see your times are improving, your processes are getting cleaner, you're wasting less motion, you're not moving around too much. You're wasting less time.
So in other words, you see the results.
You see the results.
So because you see the results, it's easy for you to buy into the whole thing.
It's really easy, yep. And another thing I was talking to Paul about was, the reason why people call work is because when you got to go somewhere you don't like something, and that's the one thing you don't want to do.
It's work.
That's work. You go to work and you're going to have to freaking sweep the floor every day, and that's the one thing you don't want to do.
But we figure out how to not sweep the freaking floor every day, right?
we figured it out, and the best way to do that is like if you go in, you find a way to not sweep the floor. In other words, why is that dust getting there? And you go in not worrying about sweeping the floor.
Because you solve the dust from ever getting on the floor.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
And then it becomes a game.
Yes, it's all a game, yep.
So lean, so 2 points you made. Number one is, for us, work is not work. It's easy because we're always improving it.
Yep.
Right? And then 2, it's a game.
It's a game. That's exactly right.
Yeah, and my response back to Glenn was also that lean is the most important thing we do at FastCap. It's how we start our day. It's how we spend our time before we ever work. Is we make improvements, we study history, we grow our people. And so as a result of that, it is the priority. It's not something that kind of happens occasionally. It is the keystone to everything we do.
And another way you look at it is, people go to gym to improve their life. People do everything they do every day. They work hard so they can make more money. So lean is just that. It's focused on something so small where you start growing, which we do 2-second lean,
right,
which is small. And you start small, and before you know it, you're working at your life where you're saying, hey, I got to make this improvement to reach this goal.
Right. So what I just heard you say was you start small,
yep,
but actually the improvements get even a little larger, yep, because, we start small and make sure everyone can buy in with them. But you do huge improvements all the time.
All the time.
I mean, we just set up our trade show, and we set up in an hour and a half, where typically it would take us 4 or 5 hours,
yep,
because of the improvements you made.
And the way we do that is we simply, every time we do a trade show, there's always good things and bad things we learn, and we write them down, and that's improvement, writing down and wanting to improve. And because of that, we cut about 30-40% of our time setting up.
Just from the last trade show we did a couple of weeks ago. We did CES. We set up the same booth in 4 or 5 hours. We set up in an hour and a half here at Macworld. We took copious notes on the problems we had. Paul's in charge of all the trade shows at our company, so he took care of it, and he moved it from a 4 and 5 hour, 6 hour process to an hour and a half process. And we set up very quickly. And as a result, now it's fun.
Yeah, it is. Actually,
Work is fun.
It's fun. And that used to be one thing when you come to trade shows, you come in, you want to work trade show, but you don't want to set up because that's the worst point of the trade show is setting up and taking it down. And we made it so easy where you go in, and an hour later you're gonna have everything set up. You have the note saying not to do this, not to do this, but to do that, and it works great.
So let's kind of recap a little bit. So we don't have paid actors, right? You're not a paid actor.
I'm not a paid actor, not at all.
So we don't have paid actors, Glenn. But what we do have is people that buy in, and the reason they buy in is because we make lean a priority. We make lean simple. Lean is fun. It's a game. And it's something that once you buy into and start doing, and as you said earlier to Glenn, you said it becomes a habit.
It becomes a habit. That's another thing we were talking about. If you do something so often, like, a lot of people drink. They drink a lot, but it becomes their habit. And that's what lean is. You do it so often.
But it's a good habit.
It's a good habit. And
it's not rum and coke.
It not only improves your life, it improves the customer's life, your family's life, your kids. However it is, the way you look at it is, when you're doing lean, you're not just affecting yourself. You're affecting the community and the people around you.
Right. So it has far-reaching consequences. Right. And so it's a very positive habit. So I guess there is a good point, and I like Paul's word of habit because that's what the word you actually used. We were driving down the road. Paul was driving. I was interviewing him, sending this audible email to Glenn, and he used that word habit, and I don't think I've ever used that word before, and I like that. So we have developed the habit of improving.
That's right.
We've developed the habit of seeing things get better. So we're kind of addicted to it. It's a little bit of a lean drug to us, a little bit.
It definitely is. I mean, just like working out. If you work out for long enough, for 4 years, 5 years, and for a week you don't work out, your body's shaking. There's something needs to be done. And same thing about improvements. When we go in the morning, and we're doing everything we can to improve the way we're working, so it's easier for us, faster for us, and we can get more done and more efficient during the day. We'll do whatever we can to do that.
So I think at the end of the day, Glenn, to answer your question, everybody else who's watching, we don't have paid actors, but we do have people that have developed the habit of improving. And we've done that because we make lean the priority of our company. It is the first thing we do every day.
That's right.
And you see the results from it, and you like the results.
I love it.
So you keep going back to that same habit that feels good and produces all the great results.
And Glenn, if I was a paid actor, I don't think Paul could afford me.
You kill it, man. He's crazy. Okay, well, there you go. This week's American Innovator is all about creating a habit-forming culture that is addicted to continuous improvement. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next week on the American Innovator, and thanks, Paul.
Thank you.